Why do we incarnate? The million-dollar question. Well, according to our framework, Shevirat, and spiritual transhumanism and conscious evolution, we as incarnate beings are a fragment of an immortal soul. So the immortal soul is on an ascending spiral back towards source, what Itzhak Bentov called the conveyor belt towards the absolute. Every consciousness that was created by God is on this ascension spiral back to source. This is a spiral towards divinity, a spiral towards becoming God, godhood. And so, as per the law of polarity, as there is an ascending spiral, there is also a descending spiral. This is what the Kabbalah has called the tree of life and the tree of death, or Klifot. Now, the consciousness, as it ascends in this spiral, has to transit some instances of incarnation. Incarnation is there to produce the tikkun, the perfectioning of the soul. So every time the soul has to incarnate, that's an instance or an instantiation where that soul perfects certain aspects of itself towards godhood. Like I said, every iteration is more perfection, less density, less distortion, and increased alignment. And this alignment eventually is the Brahman and the Atman seeing eye to eye. And so the idea is that every time we incarnate, we perfect some aspect of our soul, and we then gain more responsibilities, more hierarchy, more rank, more capabilities, etc. Now, every incarnation has a project. It's not like every incarnation is the same, and of course, humanity is not the only incarnation instance available to these unborn souls, to these immortal souls. Humanity has a very particular ontological project, and the ontological project of humanity is to become God incarnate. So the soul that decides to incarnate through humanity has to complete a process of metamorphosis, of internal metamorphosis during the lifetime. So it's the dharma, the quest, the particular purpose of that soul within that incarnation entails waking up, awakening to its spiritual nature, and achieving this particular state of consciousness, state of being that is the crystalline body. Now, of course, sometimes we fail, and so this is the unsuccessful or the failed breaking of the vessel of the Shevirat, and so that soul has to reiterate or repeat the incarnation process in the hopes of waking up and completing the process. So the universe gives us many opportunities, but these opportunities are not infinite. And every time we incarnate and we fail to achieve what we need to achieve, then we drift further away from the possibility of ascension because it grows weaker. The information and the presence of this metaphysical purpose grows weaker with every iteration. And so there is a very high stake in the incarnation process. It's an ontological referendum onto whether our immortal soul continues on its path towards ascension or descends. There is no in between. So if you descend, you eventually end up in spiritual death, in oblivion. And so this is why it is so important to wake up and to fight for your soul, literally, because there is an addendum in humanity at this time, or in this timeline and some other timelines, that we are suffering a little bit of an infection with the glyphotic forces who are trying to devour, basically, this world. And so they have perfected an occlusive device, a mechanism through which the souls incarnate repeated times, and so they lose all contact with their original source code. And so this is why it's so difficult for us at the present time to remember and to awaken, etc. Now, like I said, the stakes are very high, but the rewards are also very high, because if a soul completes its metamorphosis process within the lifetime, then that consciousness becomes a God incarnate, which is the design of humanity is to become the most powerful being of the divine plane, this spark of pure light, in a vessel, within a vessel, contained within a vessel that is the most dense vessel possible that can sustain that pure light. And so it is no small feat when a human being is able to do this. If this is something that resonates and interests you and you want to learn more, please visit our GitHub repo, our library. It's free, it's open source, and I'll catch you next time.